what happens is with AFib, it starts vibrating. And so it's going boom, 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 and it's a flutter, boom, 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 boom. And then it does this weird thing where just nothing, it gets quiet because you're listening and going, what just happened? Where'd I go?
That's scary.
Hello, knock, are you there? And it's this thing is spasming and it just can't get its rhythm down. And the problem is the interior of the heart is, think of it like the underside of a mushroom. It's got all these little crevices and blood clots up there because blood is very sticky and blood can form little clots that hide up in those little crevices. While this thing is vibrating, it can let a clot loose and that clot can go down and go up into your brain and you have a stroke.
Oh.
So that's why AFib is so dangerous and why they need to discover it as soon as you get it. You need to know what the symptoms are of AFib. And so that as soon as you feel it, you can call your doctor. But then again, I didn't know what AFib was. I didn't know I had it. I just knew my heart fluttered a lot for months. It's ridiculous how brainwashed we women are to ignoring our bodies, except when we need Botox or fillers, cosmetics, we care a lot about. We see our dermatologist and our cosmetic people constantly. And I bet a lot of women don't ever see a cardiologist. And seeing your doctor once a year and having them put a stethoscope on you is not enough. Women need to add a cardiologist is as important to a woman as a gynecologist.
Did you know that you would have to have surgery at some point? And if so, was that a scary thought for you? Like a heart surgery going into your, body, playing with the most important organ, or were you just like, okay, I got this. I know it's coming down the road. I'm prepared.
Well, I knew it was coming down the road and I went and saw Dr. Paul. My regular cardiologist is Jonathan Yeager. I went and saw Paul Massimiano, who is the cardiovascular surgeon. And he's at White Oak at the Adventist White Oak, the new hospital. So when I went to see him, he is sort of a pioneer and perfected what's called non-invasive, where they go in through your rib cage and access your heart, depending on what valve they're fixing. But after he did some x-rays and stuff with me, he said, anatomically, I don't feel it's safe to go in through the side. I'm going to have to cut you open. And that was kind of, whoa, wait, what? Because I'm thinking of having Band-Aid surgery and he's just going to go robot in and beep, 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 and, robot out. And I'm going to be like, hey, in a week I'm going to be, downhill skiing or something. I don't even do that when I'm well, but I can downhill ski. And he said, I just have to cut. They have to cut. Here's the scar. And he said, I have to cut
oh my gosh.
through your sternum. It scares people.
Let me show that again. And I'm in the big screen now.
Here we go.
My gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. Is that as far down as it go? I don't want to see any more, Wendy. Well, you don't have to show me.
Okay. Here, I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm sure people are going, we don't want to know Wendy this much. So they, and by the way, just as an aside, I have no problem showing this. To me, our scars are our scars. They're just part of the dialogue of our stories. So, and if you put makeup on it, the makeup gets all over your clothes. So get used to it, people. So that, I think the cutting open your chest, but he said, we'll cut through your sternum, we pull apart your rib cage, and he said, we put you're going to be on a heart-lung machine. And the beauty of going through your chest is that you don't stay on the heart-lung machine as long. They do stop your heart. And that was probably the only thing that I went, and I said, what makes it come back and, start beating again? And they said, it's doctor, we just fill it with potassium and and it just starts beating. And that was the only thing that kind of, I walked out of his office and thought, ooh. And what if it doesn't start beating again? So I started doing a lot of research on that. The heart, they can take cells of the heart. By the way, it's the first thing that starts beating as soon as the embryo is formed, the heart starts beating. Those cells start beating. And they can take cells and put them in a petri dish and they will beat. The
Oh my
heart,
gosh.
isn't that fabulous? The heart just wants to beat. It just wants to beat. So I'm surprised. Well, how are you going to, I don't think it wants to be stopped. So I actually wasn't, after I got all the information, I was never really scared. I mean, I didn't go redo my will. I have all that stuff done anyway. You have to, your DNRs and all that kind of crap, you have to give that. I had to give that to my brother just in case there was something. But I actually wasn't scared. I actually felt that once someone tells you that your heart is only operating at about 80 or 85%, suddenly the bike rides you went on where, you had trouble going up the hills and what have you, suddenly you realize how kind of suppressed your energy has been. And I was excited to get to the other side of this so that I could get my energy back. I wanted to have my heart going full blast. And I didn't realize how badly it was handicapped by this valve. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 1000%.
The hardest part of recovery, I was in the ICU for 4 days. Well, let's see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 days. You're exhausted. You have just had this massive trauma to your heart and to your lungs. And the exhaustion is, I have never felt it before. I couldn't, and they get you out of bed immediately. I mean, I almost wanted to pay the guy. I will pay you. I'll write you a check right now if you can stay in bed. They're like, get up, you got to walk. And I was like the space station walking down the hall with all of the monitors and all these people around me and holding me up, just trying to get, 20 feet down the hall. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Wow. Okay, so you're in the hospital for 5 days. You come home. Do you need someone to help care for you?
Yeah,
do you have to change your diet? Like, when do you get to exercise again?
There's so much going on, and because they've cut open your chest, you can't use your arms. You can't do anything that engages your pectorals. So they give you this big, this heart pillow that you have to hug because it keeps you from using your arms. You can't get out of bed. Someone has to pull you out of bed, or my boyfriend Dan was here, and in the middle of the night, I'd be trying to get up, trying to cantilever myself up. And I feel his hand, well, he was asleep, come over and just like shove me. Like, thank you. It's surprising how fast you're kind of back to human, although you feel bad and you're exhausted. But they want you walking. The 1 week anniversary of my surgery, 1 week, I walked 3 miles.
Oh my gosh.
I walked a mile and a half. First week I walked a mile and a half.
Well, still.
Yeah, slow. I just stop a couple of times, but I live here and my apartment is in Chevy Chase. I walk to Crate and Barrel in Spring Valley. Because honey, you gotta go shop for furniture. After you've had open heart surgery, you got to go look at a vase. So yeah, I walked there and back with a girlfriend, and they want you walking. The doctor, they call to check you every day, and they go, get out of bed. We want you up, and we want you taking deep breaths, and don't baby yourself. This person said, don't baby yourself. You're tough. Your heart's fine. It's all good. Just don't break. The hardest part was the sternum because they have it all wired. I saw the x-ray. It looked like the doctor dropped his earbuds in there. It was like that. But no, they don't want you to do. This is their biggest concern. I am not kidding. This is your biggest concern?
Your journey is incredible. And so just to kind of like wrap up here, can you say like 3 or 4 things, or maybe it's 10 things, what you can do to like take care of yourself? Like advice from Wendy Rieger, who's had open heart surgery. The floor is yours. What would you tell people to get better at taking care of their heart health?
Pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to your body. Do not take it for granted. If you have belly fat, that fat is the most dangerous fat on your body. That fat is sitting there pointing a gun at your heart. That's the most dangerous fat you have. Pay attention to that. Don't just say, hey, look at my gut. Do something about it. We have to, I think, practice impulse control in all aspects of our lives, not only in what we're eating, but also in how we're speaking. I mean, right now we're just out of control saying and doing anything we want. I think impulse control, practice it. Life requires some discipline, and you'll feel better if you apply discipline, not only to how you eat and how you exercise and how you rest and be quiet and be still and pay attention to not only your consciousness, but listen to your heart. Lie in bed at night and you can hear it. It's ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Listen to that. That's all you have. It's something this big. It's the only thing keeping us alive. The other thing would be cook your own food. Just cook your own food. I think the touching and the relationship with what's external to us that is going to become internal, I think we have to build that bond up. I think that's and exercise. This doesn't mean, I went to a restaurant for lunch yesterday, had a salad. The guys there brought me a big chunk of chocolate cake. It was about the size of my head. And they came up because they recognized me. And I was there with a girlfriend. And I looked at that chocolate cake and I thought, I'm going to have, it was enough cake for like 5 people. So I took a sliver of it and I ate it. I'm not saying don't. Discipline is not about denial. Discipline is about really carving and sculpting and treating yourself artfully so that you can continue to carry on. I'm going to be turning 65 in April, and I want to, I know what it's like to be debilitated. I know the greatest lesson I learned was waking up and realizing I couldn't move. I was exhausted. I don't want to ever feel that again. I don't want to ever feel that loss of control. I want to be in control of my body as long as I can. I know there are circumstances that are beyond my control, but I don't want to ever feel helpless again. And it's nothing. The margarita, the chocolate cake, nothing. The ribeye steak, nothing is worth it. Nothing to me. When you're lying in bed and you can't move and you're sick, and suddenly it's like, hey, how'd you enjoy that? How's that ribeye now? How's that feel now? And yes, as a treat, yes, but we have really got to rein it in.
That's really good advice and a good reminder. Wendy Rieger, legendary anchor from NBC4, a friend of the show, sharing her story about open heart surgery, and you are just alive and kicking more than ever. It's so good to see you healthy and happy.
Thank you. Give a big smoochie to Tommy.
Oh, I will. From a safe social distance.
Yes, of course. Like this, like here.